Today's episode of the Ramp It Up podcast contains explicit language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener's discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Ramp It Up podcast with your host, Romain.
Are you ready to ramp it up?
Ramp it up, ew!
Hey, yo, ramp it up, B.
Girl, ramp it up! Ramp it up!
The Ramp It Up podcast.
Hey, you need to ramp it up.
Ramp it up.
And we are back with another episode of the Ramp It Up podcast. I'm your host and your favorite Zoe on Wheels, Romain. Hoping everyone's been safe these past week and a half. This weekend we've had a lot of rain. Tropical Storm Fiona, now Hurricane Fiona, has hit the Puerto Rico and some of the other Caribbean islands. So we're praying everyone out there is safe, and those of us who are here in South Florida and just some of the other areas that may be getting some of the storms have made preparations. You have your lights and your canned goods and water just in case we lose power or anything. We talked about it earlier this summer on the episode when we were talking about hurricane preparedness. So hurricane season is still in full swing until just about November, or towards the end of November rather. So hopefully everyone is still prepped and again staying safe in the wake of tropical storm / hurricane Fiona. In the month of September, as I said last episode, we are celebrating Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. So taking this time to spread awareness and education and just give tips and stuff about people who have spinal cord injuries. I tend to add in those with disorders as well, just to make sure, we are educating people who have newly acquired them, their family, caregivers, friends, and just people who want to be in the know. I did promise a couple guests, and today we have one joining us. Now, throughout the last 2.5 seasons of the show, I've had the opportunity of a couple therapists joining us here. We had Nadina Barreto and Lanisha Turner as the OTs joining us. I had Laura Riddler most recently as a recreational therapist, and we also had Dr. Mario Oliveira as just a psychotherapist here on our show, because we know therapy is a big part of the recovery journey or just living with a spinal cord injury / disorder. Now, I've been wanting to get our next guest on for a while, but he's a busy man. So joining us on today's episode is a PT, a physical therapist. I've had the pleasure to work with Dr. Romain, owner and proprietor of NeuroFit 360, an activity-based therapy clinic in South Florida, originally in the Pembroke Pines area, but I think he's in Cooper City now. He's going to join us to talk about his experience as a PT, what got him into the field, his work with people with spinal cord injuries, and just some of his the passion he has developed for working with people who just need PT, whether they have a spinal cord injury or just a disorder or different disabilities, or people coming back trying to get work after a stroke or different things like that, and how he went from working in a hospital and nursing home settings to opening his own clinic. It was a great conversation. He's a real cool, fun guy. If you guys have the opportunity, he has many videos up on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube just showing his creative approach to therapy. And I can say firsthand, I spent some months with him in 2019, I believe, at NeuroFit 360, and it was some of the best therapy I've had. Of course, shout out to all the therapists I've worked with through Jackson Memorial Hospital, Memorial Health, and home health therapy. But there was just something special at NeuroFit 360. So, of course, share his contact information and all that good stuff in the episode notes. But look out for this great conversation I had with Dr. Guy. All right, on today's episode, I have a special guest joining us, one of my former therapists, none other than Dr. Guy. I have to make sure I say your last name right. Is it Romain or Romain?
Romain.
Romain, yes. Very français. Dr. Guy Romain, PT, the owner and founder of NeuroFit 360 in South Florida. Guy, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm excited to have you here. We're doing good, enjoying the strangely hot weather in September and random thunderstorms we've been having.
Yeah, a lot of lightning, and yeah, it's been raining here like crazy.
Hey, it doesn't stop us from getting it in, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so the month of September is Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month, and
Yes.
our listeners, they know I've had Gina on here along with Lanisha to represent the OTs. I had Laura Riddler to represent the recreational therapists, and it's about
Awesome. Yeah.
the PTs on here. So, Guy, had you join us?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Now, I spent time at the gym at NeuroFit 360, but I'm going to give the people a little bit of background information on you, Guy.
Okay.
Guy finished his BS in health science from Montclair State University in 1995. A couple of years later, he moved to South Florida, where he began his education for his master's of physical therapy in 2003. As time progressed, he decided, PT was where he wanted to go, and he opened up none other than NeuroFit 360. It's really famous down here, if you guys don't know, but not only down here in South Florida, but America across. Everyone knows about NeuroFit 360. And in 2012, he obtained his doctorate in physical therapy with a specialty in neuro recovery from the Neuro Recovery Institute. His passion is so evident, he shows up to work ready to tackle the challenges that both him and his clients face every day. And with nothing but respect, I gotta say, Guy's crazy, man. Like, in the best way possible. Your sessions are exciting. It's never the same thing. When people come to the gym, I don't even know what I was doing each and every day, and that's what made it even more exciting. So
we keep it fun. Yeah.
Guy, thanks for joining us. But that's just what paper is. I want to know from your own words. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Guy.
Let's see. Where do I start? I mean, I was born in Haiti, moved to Princeton, New Jersey. And then, I studied down in New Jersey, went to Montclair State, played a little football, got injured. And then that's how I ended up with PT. I was hanging out with a lot of physical therapists. I injured my ankle playing football. So I spent a lot of time with physical therapy, and I kind of like it, helping athletes going back to their games. And then after I graduated college, I went to work for the health department in Englewood, New Jersey. And then from there, I decided to, what should I do next? Went to PT school here in South Florida. I went to Nova Southeastern University, and then, studied that. It was kind of tough when I got there because it's like, PT school is very, very challenging. It was hard. Then things it was kind of intensive for me, but I made it through. And then after I graduated, believe it or not, I became homeless because the two roommates that I have that were living in this apartment, the 3-bedroom apartment, I couldn't afford it by myself because they graduated, they went home. So I lived in my car for a year and a half.
Wow.
People, it's funny because when people see me now, they don't know the struggle, you know what I mean? So I live in my car for a little bit, and then studied for my boards. I eventually passed my boards, and then got a job, got an apartment. I was staying with a couple girlfriends for a little bit, place to go take a shower.
Yeah, making it happen one way or another.
And then eventually passed the board and got a job, got my own apartment, and then I worked. I mean, I've been everywhere. I went from nursing home. As a therapist, I've been in nursing home. I've been in acute care. I've been an outpatient. I've done couple home health treatments. And then in 2010, right after the earthquake, no, actually 2008, I met a lady. And actually, no, let's go back. When I was working at the nursing home, unknowingly what I was going to be doing in my future, I was working at the Jewish home, and I was getting a lot of neuro clients. For some reason, like every time they get a neuro client, they send them to me. Back then, there was a guy named David Broker. He's the guy who invented biofeedback. So I used to treat he had clients from all over the world that come to see him for biofeedback. So I used to do the therapy for his clients. And then, so from there, unknowingly, I was getting like a lot of spinal cord, stroke, TBIs. And I would do like, at first I didn't know what to do with them because in school, they teach you the basic. But some of these clients were like young clients, like I would say 40 and under. That they had spinal cord injury that wanted to do more than like the traditional rehab. So I kind of developed the system trying to, and then from there I went to work for Aventura, and then I worked with, then I moved to Broward, and I went working for Memorial outpatient. And when I was there in 2008, 2009, I believe, I met this lady, and she thought that I was doing something different with her. She was a spinal cord injury. She came in because she had shoulder pain. So we were doing stuff. She's like, wow, you're doing things like other therapists never done with me before. Because usually, she said, like, when I go to rehab, or, she said, they keep me in my chair. So me, I wanted to see how a balance was. So we were doing stuff with that out of the chair. And she found that was interesting that I was doing that. And she said, you should look into open a neuro. She said you should look into open a rehab for people with spinal cord injury, because there isn't anything out there. So I was like, yeah, but I always wanted to have my own practice, but I always leaning towards like more sports, because that's what I know. Because I play a sport and I know what it is to be injured and to go back to playing, or wanted to go back to playing. So she told me the story. She said, hey, you should look into it. I didn't. even though I felt like, I had some experience, but I didn't. And then 2 years later, 2008, 2010, I think, she came back, and she told me exactly the same thing. She came back because she was having back pain now. But this lady was in the chair for like 34 years, so she understood what it's like to be in the chair. She came back, she told me the same thing. So I was like, you know what? Let's look into it. And I look into it, and I noticed that a lot of, after spinal cord injury, people were going to like places like the Project Walk out of California. But these guys, they were not physical therapists. They were just exercise specialists, doing stuff. So I was like, well, so I kind of contacted them. I said, hey, listen, I want to come to see what you guys are doing. So they had this thing back then called Train the Trainer. It's called a program called Train the Trainer. Basically what it is that a client will bring the personal trainer there, and they will train the personal trainer how to treat.
How to treat them at home.
At home. So I went there. I didn't have a client, so I told they let me come, and I was the only physical therapist, that's it, according to the trainers, that ever come to their place. And when I got there, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to work with spinal cord injury. I want to work with people in wheelchairs. And so I did that for a week, came back. I kind of brought the idea to my director at the place where I was working at that time. And she's like, come on, man. I mean, why? People in the wheelchair, they're not going to get anything, So she shut it down. And I was like, you know what? I think I might be able to do something. So at first, when I started to share the word around with my colleagues, they're like, man, how you gonna get paid? Because insurance only pay for a certain amount of visits, how you gonna get paid? So I was like, I don't know. I just don't do private pay. They're like, it's not gonna work. So I would say a lot of everybody I talked to, everybody got an idea of like why it's not gonna work, But I always feel like whenever I put my mind to something and I felt like it's a good idea, I always go for it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. If it doesn't work, I just go back to what I was doing,
I know I am one of many people that has to say thank you for being brave enough to do it, and thank you to that lady back in 2008.
Right. Yeah.
The idea to do it.
Yeah. So it was kind of tough at first because to open your own practice as a minority is difficult because you need collateral. You know what I mean? Like most of us, like I have friends, colleagues that could go to their fathers or their parents and say, hey, I need $100,000 to start a business. Boom, they get it. I can't do that. So I had to shop around a lot to get, I went to like 7 banks. They all declined it. because I didn't have any collateral. I mean, I had some money in the bank, but not enough for them to give me like what I wanted. So I got rejected 7 times. And then one day I was at the gym and I was talking to this guy. I was like, man, I got this idea. I really want to start my own practice. And he's like, hey, let me talk to this guy. So sometimes it's who you know, right?
Yep, it's all about your connections.
I was at work one time. I got a call from this guy from Chase. I was like, wait a minute, I already got rejected by Chase. I know you're not going to do anything. So I tell him the story. He's like, let me see what I could do. And then with like a month later, he called me. He's like, hey, I could get you a credit card. Each has like $10,000 in it. And I could get you a small business loan for $25,000. I was like, boom, I'll take it. So I'll start with that. So I got a small space. It was like 11 square feet space. And so I opened that. Within I would say within a week, that $25,000 was gone.
Wow.
Because I had to buy equipment. So I bought a few stuff, not major yet. And then, so now what I was doing was I was going to do my place twice a week and then going to my regular job because I had benefit there. I was getting the benefits. So I was going there 3 days a week, right? So I was trying to hustle those 2 things at the same time. And then one day my supervisor found out, I don't know how she found out, but she found out that I was doing this thing on the side. She said, listen, you got 2 choices. It's either you close your practice or get terminated from the place I was working. And she said, you got 1 month to do it. So I was like, all right, cool. I got 1 month.
You had 1 month to make some money.
I got to hustle and do my other. And then within a week, she called me back and she said, listen, I know you want to go and close this because this is a great idea. And this is the same person I went to and tell them about the idea. And then she gave me the paper to sign. I got fired. Now this is where it gets tough because now I got fired and I have no income coming in, but I got this business and I got this loan. So my back was against the wall and I was standing on a cliff. So I had to jump. So I jumped. It was a little tough. I remember in January 2013, I opened in 2012. January 2013, I had like 1 client. One client, and I had a loan. I had a brand new baby, and I had a loan, and I got all these bills to pay. But I always know that persistence is important, and believing what you do is important. So I said to myself, if I become really good at what I do, then the money would come. Because at first I was like, it's all about the money. But then I put that on the side. I was like, okay, if I become really good, know what I'm doing, and know the ins and outs of how to do this business, the money will come. Sure enough, I would say within 9 months, the place was too small for me.
Oh, that same year of 2013, where at the beginning of the year, you had 1 person. Yeah. Dude, by the end of the year, you were already too tight.
The place was too small. So I worked really hard and I become really good at what I do, and I love it. I become passionate about it, and I study the game. I study what to do. I study the clients, and sure enough. So we went from a 1,200 square feet facility. Then we went to a 3,200 square foot, and now we just moved to a new building, which is 8,000 square feet. So persistency is the key. Persistent and consistency. Those are the things. If you're persistent at it, you believe in yourself, it will happen. The problem is you got to jump. You got to take that risk because there's so many. And then also you can't listen to what people tell you all the time, because everybody's not meant for you to give you good advice. Everybody said, no, it's not a good idea. And thank God I didn't listen because it's funny because like even people in your own family tell you it's not a good idea, So it's kind of like, man, you're supposed to like give me a little positive.
And you Haitian, so I know what that was like.
Yeah, so
I'll keep your job.
Keep ton bon job comme ça pour faire.
And and I have to say this because just for any of the aspiring business owners or entrepreneurs out there, you said 3 things that I really want to emphasize. The first one was, when you started, you didn't give up your 9 to 5. You know what I mean? It's what was feeding you. It's what was paying the bills. So you had a double hustle. There's no such thing as just give up one.
No.
Then when it came time to choose, you chose to bet on yourself.
Right.
And
always.
Lesson was, even though things weren't easy, you kept going. Like you said, you took that leap. off that cliff, but you were consistent and you got better at what you did, and then
right. Yeah. So yeah, it's I think sometimes it looked like this is what I felt that when I was doing that. I was like, the position that I'm in, it feels better to stay at the 95 than taking that leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But usually that leap of faith, man, is scary, but the result usually turn out better. You know what I'm saying? And that's
as you were just kind of, as you're giving your background, you touched on a couple of things I want to kind of go back to. The first one is, it seems to be a consistency where a therapist used to either be an athlete, like you said yourself, or who got hurt, or they just been around a lot of people in the healthcare, or someone that had a person with a disability in their family, and that kind of steered them towards that area. So again, you're Haitian, so they always trying to make us doctor. Anyway, but was there any like family influence that made you go towards healthcare?
Actually, my grandma was a nurse in Haiti, and I remember she was a midwife, actually. And I remember when I was a little kid, I think like 5 years old, she used to get a call in the morning. That's when Haiti was good. Like you get up and move around. There was electricity, there's water. When things were good there, you could drive your own car and all that. You could be in the middle of the street, nobody's bothering you. And I remember at times she used to drag me because at certain point in my life, it was just me and her in the house with a maid. And I remember she wouldn't leave me in the house by myself. So she would take me with her. And she would take me, like, let's say she has a delivery done at 2:00 in the morning. She just grabbed me, and I remember she used to wear the talon kiki, the shoes.
Yeah, the little high heels.
And I remember I'd be falling asleep, and she's dragging me in the street, and I remember her foot just like. and I remember one time we came to a corner. I remember that and then we saw a white horse. There was a guy in the middle of the street on a white horse, and he asked my grandma, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Frank, get out of my way. I'm about to go deliver a baby." And then the guy moved, and then she kept going. And I remember that, and because you're little, and I remember I was looking at the sky, and I was like, "Wow, that is so big." That was the biggest horse I never seen. And the guy was just like, "Okay, lady," and he just moved out the way, and then she kept going.
That's dope, yo. And then you also talked about how being a minority and starting a business isn't the easiest thing. And you came to Miami or Florida or even New Jersey when things weren't good for Haitians. Like a lot of people don't remember those times where we're discriminated, attacked even. So early 2000s, it's not now where cats, are repping the blue and red all day. But
all day.
So I'm assuming you had moments where you're thinking, man, if I wasn't, a black man, an immigrant.
Oh, I still have that now, man. I always feel like for example, a couple of things that are happening right now. There's all the facilities that support each other, and I'm doing the same thing, and I don't feel the same love. You know what I mean? Like, but they use me to get money, but they won't support me. You know what I'm saying? Like they use my video saying, "Hey, this is what we could do with spinal cord injury," but they won't send me a check. You know what I'm saying? So I always feel like, what would happen if I was white? I think I won't say that. I think I'm doing fine without.
I'll say it like this. What I do love is the tenacity and the fact that even though you faced those direct discriminations, you didn't allow it to push you back and allowing it to make you like bitter or anything about that. You're still pushing.
I'm all good, man. Because the person who's with me is greater than all of them.
Amen. But do legless in here.
So make me preach, man.
Yeah.
I go to that Bible real quick.
So now tell me a little bit of the difference you've seen, because I guess what we could call your gym is activity-based therapy. I think that's the term.
Yeah, exercise-based therapy, yeah.
So what would you say is the biggest difference? And I guess I'll give my perspective afterwards, because you said your patient talked about it. What's the difference between home health therapy, nursing home therapy, somewhere like Memorial, and then NeuroFit? I give you a lot.
So I would say when you look at other places, it's like, we're talking about traditional therapy and out of the box therapy. So traditional is like, you come see me, you have insurance, I do an eval, and I send it to the insurance, and the insurance come back and say, okay, you got 6 visits. You know what I'm saying? for a spinal cord injury, 6 visits is not enough. Well, actually, for a total hip replacement, 6 visits is not enough. You know what I'm saying? For me to get you back on your feet and do what you have to do, is never enough. So traditional, this is my personal opinion. When I was working for the insurance companies and working for the facility, I always feel like I was a puppet. I was not allowed to do what the therapist should be doing for the client to get them better. I was really pleasing the insurance because I have to make sure that, my boss will come to me and say, hey, you need to write this note this way so we could get paid. So I'm really was like the middleman as a puppet to please the company and please the insurance. So the client will be over here waiting, not getting what they need, what they're paying the insurance for. So I always feel like as a puppet. So that's the traditional. With the traditional, basically, it's also depending on the therapist. Some therapists are a little bit more aggressive if they're allowed the facility. Like me, when I was working in my facility, man, I was a little bit aggressive. I was a little bit like outside of the box thinking, like, how can I get this person better, faster? So traditionally, it's really like, okay, we're going to do this much because that's what the insurance say you're allowed to do. So when you come to NeuroFit, it's a different environment. We're not really pleasing the insurance. Our goal is to, by any means necessary, to get you achieve what you came for. And we provide with intensive, skilled, and innovative physical therapy. So we will get you out of the chair. We strengthen what you have and what you don't have. Whereas traditional, they only focus on what you have, and their goal is to keep you comfortable into the wheelchair. Our goal is to get you from a power chair to a manual chair to hopefully a walker. You know what I mean? So we're trying to. The only thing with us is that it just takes time. It's not really like something we can say, hey, like if somebody broke a bone, I could say within 6 weeks you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Well, we come with a spinal cord injury, it takes time. It's consistency and time. And the bottom line is it's really finance. Insurance won't pay for it, which is kind of suck. But it's really finance. Most people that do really well in our facility, finance is not a problem. They could come 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and they're not really worried about how much it costs. They're just like, here, I want to get better. This is what I'm going to be doing, and let's go. So I think I'm hoping eventually health insurance will pay for it, or at least reimburse the client, but I don't see it. I don't know.
Once you get that, I'll be the first one at your door. You'll like, stop playing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
I'll say this.
So that's the difference between the traditional and what we do. It's a little bit more out of the box thinking. We focus on neuroplasticity. We focus on intensive physical therapy, trying to get people, and then it's all depends on what the goal. If you come to me and say, hey, listen, Guy, my goal is to be able to transfer. We work on that. My goal is able to be independent and drive. We work on that. But I would say 90% of people that come here, they say, hey, listen, I want to ditch this wheelchair.
Yeah.
So we're going to make you do that, And I think that we make the client do the things that the traditional will not do, like, get you in a body weight support system and get you moving your leg. Even though, you're not doing much, but we're feeding the body saying, hey, this is something that we need. Just give them the external cues that will help the person get stronger. And you see it. I mean, people get stronger. Like I have so many clients that here that they were told that they would never do this, never do that. And then within 6 months to a year, yeah, they're doing it.
I'll say this from my perspective. The first thing you said was it depends on the therapist. And, I did therapy at Jackson. So shout out to the team that I had, because I had some great therapists, no question. And they did a lot outside of what they were paid to do. They spent money on me, they give me a little extra time. They've skipped lunch, you know what I mean? So shout out to the therapist I had there. But what I can say about the difference between being inpatient or outpatient and then coming to an activity basis, like you said, the insurance, first of all, I'm doing home health therapy right now, and you'll get 6 sessions.
Yeah.
And it might be a month before you get your next 6 again.
Right.
So
any
progress or any pain that started going away, it's going to come right back because of the inconsistency.
Inconsistency.
That you might show up one day at therapy and they'll be like, no authorization this week. Go back home. So you're in limbo. You don't know if you're going to get better. You know, it's a stress that was on there. And as you said, they're trying to get you adapted to the chair. Right. In defense of the therapist, they don't have that much time. They know that at 3 months, so they're going to give you the best that they can. Right. Whereas when I started going, and you know, I can't say I'm using you as an example. That's where I went. I went to NeuroFit 360 for a while. And first of all, like first day, you guys were like, all right, you know, shout out to you and Corey, my dog Corey. Just lift me up out the chair, and I'm not a small dude, yo. Chair and just started working. And I was shocked first when you come in, just seeing the different equipment that you guys had there. I did activity with a bicycle wheels. Like it's so out of the box, I guess is the only way to say it. You know, I like to say it's crazy, it's wild. You know what I mean? I think every day I did something that I did not expect, and no one held my hand. You know what I mean? It was like, yo, do it. Get up.
Yeah.
Hurt me or anything like
I remember that time I had you in a standing frame, and then I had you push your body weight. That was crazy.
Yeah. I didn't think I could do it. I was like, wait, what? Did I just do that? I thought you were messing with me, but it was cool. You know, being on the loco mat, it's like a treadmill that's suspending you in the air and helping you walk. So, I mean, if you can, tell me about some of the activities you do with some of the patients.
As far as activities, so for me, I like to do a lot of core work because I always believe that, you know, if your core is not strong enough, that you can't move nothing else. So I really like focus on core. I do a lot of cardio because I want to make sure that you have enough endurance to do what we want you to do. And also the cardio is really good too, because like now you're in a wheelchair, you're not moving as much. So you want to make sure you keep that heart strong, keep your heart rate up. Also the cardio is also important for like weight gain, weight loss a little bit. Healthy. Also like with the cardio, you know, whether it's like boxing, battle rope, whatever, it's also important for like comorbidity, because now you're sitting in the chair, you're not burning as much. So I like to make sure that you get a little sweat and get you going. So those are the activity. And then again, it all depends on what the goal is. If the goal is just to balance, you know, or transfer or whatever, we work on that. So it all depends. Everybody's different. If it's gait training, you know, I would say as soon the person could tolerate standing for a little while, we'll get them on the treadmill with the body weight support system and move their legs, you know. And it'd be so weird to see that somebody that been told that they couldn't move their legs, and you put them there, and all of a sudden, I mean, it's not like a perfect movement, but they're able to initiate something. If you could initiate your finger, I could make the rest move, you know, because that's like something. That means there's a connection there that we could use to stimulate and help you get stronger. So the activities all depends on the goals, but we do strengthening, we do cardio, everything. Everything. And then the thing about us too, like every day you come, we're trying to do something different. So, you know, I always heard about like, clients say, I got a plateau. I was going somewhere and the therapist said a plateau. I was like, I don't believe in that. I think it's just like, I think, you know, the therapist is probably not thinking outside the box enough, because there's so many things you could do just to get somebody stronger. But safely too. That's another thing. You make sure that they're safe when they do whatever the activity that we do.
Now, I know you guys are huge on social media. You guys have a crazy following. People are watching your videos. And one video that's always really popular anytime someone's on the exoskeleton. Can you tell me?
So the exoskeleton is a robotic legs that we put on somebody, and that help them stand up and take steps. So traditionally, the exo is meant for somebody who has upper body, because they have to be able to hold the walker. They have to be able to do. But when I got it, I was like, you know what? We're going to put it in whoever's able to tolerate. So we put it in the quad before. So if you see the video where we had a quad walking across the stage.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that for graduation.
Yeah. So that's a quad. I mean, but the thing about it is we had to walk through that. It's not like he came one day and we put him on that. So we still have to build this cardio up. We have to build this trunk, because you need a little trunk to move the machine. We have to build is standing tolerance. So, you know, because we were walking at least a good, maybe 10 feet. So if you're quad walking 10 feet, that, that's require a little bit the muscle endurance and whatever.
Yeah, not passing out, all that.
Not passing out. Yeah. So we have to build up to that. So whenever you see us doing something, it's not like, we rarely get somebody to come in and then doing like the step 5 in the first day. We got to make sure we get, everything's online, everything's good before we could get you to that, to it. So there's like it's a process. That's what I call it. It's a process. So the exoskeleton is a very good tool that we have that help us, help the person stand up and move around. So that's, and then with the exo, the way it works is that there's three different mode. There's a passive mode where, let's say the person have nothing at all. I just push a button and then the leg will move, but they have to be like in certain position, and the leg will move. And there's an active assistive mode where if they give me a little something, then the exo will take over. So let's say they move to activate something, the machine will feel it and they will finish. And there's an active mode where we could, let's say you're working with somebody with a stroke, where we could disable the one leg where the strong leg, and then they could move the weak leg.
Okay, that's cool. The one that actually needs assistance.
Right. So we have that in there. So exo is a very good tool. It's a big price to pay, but I'm glad I have it. And
I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. And my dad, old Haitian man, saw your video and he was like, "Oh, you saw Poco Fest. Why haven't you used it yet?" I had to explain to him, it's you have to get there, quad versus para. But it's something that I see more overseas, like Australia and the UK use it more.
Right. So the thing about it is the US, we have so many rules. We got the FDA, we have all these people that make rules. So in Europe, it's a little bit less lenient because the exo, you can't buy it from home. But in Europe, if you have the money, you could buy it. And then you just gotta, what they'll do is if you buy it at home in Europe, they'll train somebody in your house to help you work with it. Because usually if you go and buy that, 90% of the time you're gonna have somebody in the house to help you take care of it. So, but in the US, it's only used in clinic, not for. But although there's one guy in California, you probably see him on my Instagram. He's I think he's a lieutenant for the Air Force, and he got injured on a motorcycle accident. He was able to get one to a grant, and what they did, because they're doing a study. So he was able to get one for a grant, and what the company did, they trained his wife how to walk with him. So every day he's using it to walk, and every day he's gaining more steps, which is awesome.
Oh, that's dope. So
in the US, I think there's like 2 people that have him personally, but with the one that I have, the exo, you have to have a therapist with you to use it.
Yeah,
but
I know the Miami Project has one too.
Right. Yeah, they have others. Other exoskeleton. They have the Rewalk, they have the Indigo, they have other ones that people could buy for home, but not the exo. The exo, you have to have a therapist unless you get a special grant.
All right. Another thing I really want to talk about, and it's something that really attached me to your facility, and I didn't really ask you about it yet, but when you're in the Pembroke Pines location, once you come in the little sitting area, the wall with nothing, pictures and bills, and it's you doing runs or helping people in wheelchair do races and marathons. Tell me a bit about that.
So about I would say maybe 2000, right when I was about to start my practice, I met this guy named James Sehai. And the way I met him is I was looking for a location to open my spot, and I walk into his gym, and he owned a CrossFit gym. And then so I was telling him about what I want to do. And then unknowingly that he had a kid that has cerebral palsy. And so I met him and I become his therapist. So he'd been working with me ever since. And one day he called me, he's like, "Hey, do you want to do a 5K pushing Michael?" I was like, "You mean like running and pushing somebody?" I was like, "That's so strange." But you know me, man, I'm down for a challenge. So I did it. And then ever since, we've done marathons, we did 5K. I mean, we've done everything. Spartan races, half marathon, Miami marathon. We also do the biking where I strap him into the bike and we do the dolphin challenge, which is a really cool one. And then recently, I don't know if you saw that, but I did the coursing for cystic fibrosis.
Oh no, I didn't see that one yet.
So we did. We went from Bimini, Bahamas to West Palm Beach, which is 80 miles on a paddleboard. Yeah, that was the most craziest thing I ever done. Though that was awesome.
No. Let's rewind. You can't just say that and keep going. You did 80 miles on a
80 miles on a paddleboard. Yes, yeah, that was the most craziest thing ever. But it was.
There has to be video of this somewhere.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. If you go on my Instagram, you see it.
Oh, yeah, I'll put the link in so people can see that. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. But that was that was definitely like a mental challenge, because there's so many times, you wanted to give up. But for inspiration, what we did was, in my board, I have my board here in my office. We had the pictures of the little kids that have cystic fibrosis. And I was like, man, every time I'm thinking about giving up, like getting in the boat and like, let's take a break, I think about this little kid that's sitting in a hospital that can't breathe, and they would do anything to be in the middle of the ocean with me, just to be outside, playing in the grass, smelling the air. So I was like, you know what? So I kept pushing, man. 80 miles. It took us 18 hours to do. But that was definitely the most craziest challenge I've ever done. And I'm planning to do it again. And then it's called the Piper's Angels. If you guys look it up, Piper's Angels Foundation. And I think their raise for this year, there was about $430,000 just for a family with cystic fibrosis. Yeah, it's a very, very cool event. Very tough, but I'm looking forward to do it again next year.
That is wild. I'm here trying to find a 5K, and you doing 80 miles.
80 miles, man. That was really cool. I like. It was tough. It was more like a survivor mode. And now this is the craziest thing. We started at midnight. So when you started, the ocean was pitch black. Yeah. I'm telling you, I have videos on my Instagram of it. But yeah, it was cool though. It was cool. Definitely the toughest thing I ever done, and definitely probably do it again. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds exciting. I know we don't have too much time left, but the last thing I really wanted to talk about was another thing I appreciated about being in your facility is that while being a therapist, while being inspirational, you're a teacher, man. You have students in there. You have folks that are waiting to take their boards. You even took one of my friends do her internship for a little while. What inspired you to want to train the next generation of therapists?
Well, I mean, I always feel like, I'm not going to be here forever. I mean, even though I feel like I'm Batman, I'm not going to be here forever. So, yeah. So the thing is, like, I always feel like if you have a gift, what you want to do is you want to build that gift, shape it, make it really good, and then share it, because it's not really yours. So, I feel like I have a gift to help others get better. So yeah, I like to teach it and share it with other people, and my students help them become better therapists, so they could continue on the legacy.
What I really like about that is even if they don't end up working with you in the end, and they end up in a bigger facility or a hospital or something, they're bringing that mindset into that.
Right. Yeah.
Someone is going to benefit from that.
Yeah. So one thing that's been happening lately is that I had a client from Germany. I had a client from Germany. He came in and we did therapy. He did really well, and we always record his videos. So when he went back to Germany, he showed the therapist what he was doing, and the therapist like, oh, okay, so now I could do this with you. Because at first he was like, they would just like make him do like simple stuff, and now the therapist like, okay, well, so it's okay to do these things. So now he's like, so I'm hoping that I'm planting a little seed on this therapist's brain, be like, okay, it's okay to go outside the box and do things, safely with the clients. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's happened. Same thing happened we had another lady from Italy. Same thing. She went back and showed the therapist what she was doing. I remember one time I took her to the beach and we were walking in the sand, and she still took the videos back to her therapist at home, and she messaged me saying, yeah, the therapist is trying
Yeah.
to do some of the stuff that we were doing here, which is awesome because now it's just taking it to that next level, you know. So I think like I'm hoping that's happening around the world now. When people see my videos, they're inspired to challenge their clients and challenge that status quo and say, okay, I think that we could help help the client achieve more than what they say they can achieve.
So these people owe you some checks, yo. They can't just be taking what you're doing. Today's business. I mean, you can replicate it, but you can't duplicate it. You know,
can't do it.
It's key. And I have to say it firsthand. I have my pictures or my videos.
Yeah.
You know, I've done the same. I've showed my brother, my friends, and my therapist, yo, let's try this. You know, we don't have the same equipment, but
right. But you could modify it.
You could do it. Yeah.
You could modify it. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So as we close, of course, let the people know how they can contact you if they're interested in doing therapy with you. What's your Instagram, phone number for the gym, all that.
Yeah, so we just moved to a new location in Cooper City. Instagram at NeuroFit360.com, or you could send us email to administration@neurofit360.com if you have any question, or you could hit me on Instagram at neurofit360.com, and we reply to you and give you all the information you need.
And a word of inspiration is Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month to, you know, just talk to some of the newly injured or people like myself who've been injured for more than 5 years.
Yeah. So I would say if, you know, it is all how you receive the message, because people gonna tell you what you can do, what you cannot do. It's all how you receive it, you know. Sometimes I feel like people are telling you not to do things because they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So be positive, be consistent, and anything's possible, man. You just gotta be consistent and it's all possible.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. Your mindset. You apply that to school, to business, to your physical.
Consistency and persistence. That's it.
Yes, sir. Guy, I'm looking forward to the next time I can come out. I gotta check out the new facility.
Yes, sir. You love it. Big.
I'm looking forward. Tell my boy Corey I said what's up, but
you will, man.
For spending your time with me, man.
All right, no, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the show. Connect with the podcast on social media. Check out our Instagram page at ramp.it.up.podcast or email us at rampituppodcast@gmail.com. Until next time.